Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Phil Risher, and on today's episode, we have Danielle Putnam. I actually know Danielle. I was on Dom Rubino's podcast from Profit Tool Belt, and after the fact, I was like, hey, do you know anyone else that might add value to our community or that I could connect with? And he's like, oh, you got to talk to Danielle. Wait, you don't know about flat rate pricing? You don't know about,
Aw.
all this. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't. So then I started listening to some of your podcasts that you've been on and stuff. And you seem like an awesome person. So thank you so much for being on our show today.
Oh, that was like the nicest thing. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. And Dominic is like absolutely the best. So any connection and friend of his is automatically a friend of mine. So
Yeah, that's my guy. I'm
cool
on
to
his
hear.
other podcast too, the one about cabinet makers,
Yeah.
that thing, and he's just such a great guy. We were talking. I'm like, dude, if we live close to each other, like we would be best friends. It seems because like
Yes.
he's a great guy.
Yes.
So you're the president of the New Flat Rate.
hmm
You are a board member of Women in HVAC. Used to be the president, I believe.
Correct. Yeah. In 2019, I was the president of the organization. Now, technically, I am an advisory board member because I'm a past president, but
Yeah.
still very involved. The women over there, I mean, they are movers and shakers. They are constantly working hard to push the industry forward and to support women. And I absolutely love all of them over there and what they're doing. So I still stay really close.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like sometimes even into trades in general, women, they get pushed into like the office manager role or something and they're
hmm
not like front facing. And so I love to see that part of it, which is like, yeah,
Yeah.
we can do this too. It's not just the guys that are the technicians.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're really working to take the segregation out of it. Like, we're just all people. We're working together for the betterment of home services. And so, how can we just work better together, all of us? And it's just like we're just people. And so,
Exactly.
they're doing a good job.
I love that. So your dad owned a company in the trades and you kind of grew up into the trades. Can
hmm
you tell us a little about your dad's company? It was HVAC, plumbing, electrical, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
My dad was an electrician,
Okay.
and he from northern Minnesota grew up. His dad was an electrician, his brothers were electricians, so he grew up in that, and then ended up purchasing. So when he started, we moved to Georgia, and he started his own company. I mean, I was a kid; I was probably 7, and then he ended up buying HVAC and plumbing. So he had all three verticals, and was serving Northwest Georgia. So all growing up, all of us kids, there's 9 of us kids, and we all, rite of passage, you get your season working in the family business, which, Phil, is such a blessing. And one thing I do love about home services is it provides opportunities for kids in the family, relatives in the family to learn how to work.
Yeah.
We worked in the office, we answered phones, we ran parts to job sites, we were in the supply house. I can't tell you how many times I was doing inventory in the back in the warehouse, right? So
Yeah.
you learn so many different things about business that you can apply anywhere you go. And many of us ended up staying in the home services, which is just extra plus.
Yeah, I heard your brother Amos, he's a welder or doing welding.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The
Yeah.
youngest, he's 21 and he's a welder. And if this is okay for me to say, not everybody can say this. Like the other day, I was in my gym. I work out with a personal training group of women, and they were all complaining about the economy. And so they're like, nobody can afford a house these days. Nobody can afford an apartment, and, yada, yada. And I just looked at them and I was like, hate me if you want, but my 21-year-old brother just bought his first house and he paid 30,000 down cash.
Wow.
They're like, yeah, well, that's not. I said, no, no, no. I said, don't give me that. He worked hard. He was dual enrolled. He was in high school. He was in college. He's a welder. He's working nights. He saved up his money and he bought his first house, and he's 21. Don't tell me you can't make it in the economy right now. I'm super
Exactly.
proud of him. Because
Yeah.
especially with the trades, guys, like we have such awesome opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And so did you end up working in your dad's business and then you figured out like, hey, there's an issue here, or how did that come about to figure
Yeah,
out?
I would love to take credit for that, but I can't, right? We got to give credit where credit was due. So I worked in Dad's business for through high school and like 1 year during college. But I had moved out and I worked for other businesses. I worked for another contracting company out west, and
Oh,
that was great experience learning marketing and things. And I worked for just large international organizations. So my pathway was marketing and technology.
mm,
And in 2011, my dad's like, hey, I need your help. I have this idea. Well, we'd been talking about the idea, but he was still running the home service company. And so he was trying to find a way to duplicate my brother, who was his one and only superstar technician. Like, how do
mm.
we duplicate this technician so that we can have better cash flow? and scale the business again, right? Because so many have that same question and that struggle. And that's when he stumbled upon, wait a minute, Matt, my brother, was handwriting options in every home, leaving all these options with the customers, and customers were buying more because they were provided the opportunity. So we're like, what can we do with that? Can we share this wealth with other people? And we kept talking about it. I was like, yeah, Dad, you should do something. He's like, well, I need your help. I can't do it without you. I need your help. If you come home, I'll give you half. I was like, what?
Wow. I
So that
think
was fun.
I think that's where a lot of people miss it is the business owner with our clients, they have
Hmm.
an idea, right? They see so
Yeah.
many problems and they see technology could solve these problems for so many people.
Hmm.
And then they don't realize that when they're going out and running a technology company now or
Yeah.
a new SaaS business,
Hmm.
that they're not actually they have to run two businesses now and they know nothing about technology. And
Right.
so your dad's saying, oh, my daughter, she knows something about technology and marketing. Maybe she could help me with this.
Hmm.
I think that is a part where a lot of people miss the mark. They just go and they try to hire freelancers to like build the software
Yeah.
and they don't know what they're doing. How was your
Yeah.
experience with that, with technology, and how did you even begin that process?
Yeah. With as an entrepreneur, I mean, I love business. I love hearing about everybody else's business. I love our business. We often have our hands in so many things and we're always chasing after the shiny. But one thing I do know and believe in is you do have to start it on paper before you can build it, right? You got to get your thoughts out of your head, you got to get it on paper, and you have to be clear on what you're doing. And then you have to simplify it again and simplify it again. And so in the beginning, we weren't technology, we were Excel spreadsheets.
Mm.
Right? We started with hey, let's handwrite a couple options. Let's copy this on the copy machine. Let's run it through what's that thing called? The laminator. Let's run it through the laminator, 3-ring bind it, and send it to some other contractors
Oh,
to see if
wow.
it'll work, right? And
Wow.
so you don't start as this great elaborate thing. And it's Starbucks, Phil, that I mean, just always encourages me because Starbucks says it took them 20 years to be an overnight success. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, thank you. Somebody's being realistic, right? We don't just get an idea, roll out of bed, and all of a sudden we have this awesome technology company because we had an idea. There's the process in the building. And so we started with a lot of pen and paper and a lot of laminating
Wow.
sheets. And then the Excel came, and then all of a sudden we had these price books on Excel that were so big and took forever to open, right?
Yep.
And it was 2017 that we actually rolled out our app. And then I was like, okay, now we're a technology company. So it took a minute.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, almost 6 years to get to that point,
Hmm.
but I've seen the technology. I saw some of the videos of the user experience, and the thing that when I first was looking at it, I was like, "Okay, this is great. I see how this could be used." I
Hmm.
love that it integrates with ServiceTitan and House Call Pro because then it makes it
Yes.
way more seamless for your technicians to upsell. If someone hasn't seen it, can you just kind of explain what this looks like to them or how it works?
Yeah, it's so awesome. So the new flat rate is it's a pricing system, it's a pricing tool because as you go out and you offer your services, you need to price your job, right? And some of the problems we were having as an industry is we were forcing the technicians to sell more. Hey, you got to get your average tickets up, you've got to sell more. And that was difficult because the majority of us are not salespeople. And I know I don't like when the industry is always like, well, technicians aren't salespeople. I'm like, most of us aren't salespeople, right? So let's not just point fingers at them. Most of us are not salespeople. And so let's get a system that actually does the selling. So that's what the app does. It does the selling for you. It's got 5 different price points. It's automatically, the prices are already done for you. All of the descriptions, the text, everything's already done for you. It's so easy to maximize the opportunities on the service call. So then with Service Titan in-house call Pro, the beauty of these APIs, these integrations, is majority of our customers, to be honest, are on those two platforms. And so they're using both systems. They want to maximize the opportunity in the home, so they want to use the new flat rate, but then they just get to push a button when the integration's on and it pushes through what the customer chose, all the information that they need in their Service Titan so they can close out the sale. And it just makes it so seamless and very easy for that whole point of sale.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. You made me think about our techs are not salespeople. Last week we had a call with a client. They do HVAC, a little plumbing work, and the issue that they're having is that they want to grow their business, but their tech people are not salespeople. They have two, comfort consultants that go out,
Yeah.
and so what happens is they get all these no heat calls or no AC calls. The tech goes out and he does the fix, but he doesn't actually give them an estimate for a new system, which is going to solve their problem. And then they don't rehash it on the back end.
Yeah.
So would something like this be a solution in that case where they can say, hey, you
Hmm.
need a new system, it's pretty quick, like, and plug and
Yes.
play?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an equipment replacement book, right? Module, we call it. And then, so we have HVAC service, equipment replacement, plumbing, electrical, chimney, and indoor air quality. But we like to teach and train for a 100% close. So, in the opportunity of being in the home with the customer, you can show them a menu page, with all your options for repair. And then we set them up for success with scripting so then that customer can ask that golden question. Instead of spending that much on a repair today, how much for a new system? Oh, well, let me just flip over right here and you just slide it into an equipment replacement page and automatically they can see 5 price points for getting a new system. And then the customer can decide, you know what, I want the new system or no, I want to actually wait. And now I know what to invest for or save for, right? And I'm going to do the repair now. And so providing both options on the spot, very easy, seamlessly, helps keep that 100% close rate. And then, yeah, we see more people buying more equipment.
Wow. So it's a way that you could turn your technician into a salesperson without going through the whole, here's a price book, here's what you need to offer, here's the bundles and all this stuff. It's kind of pre-built stuff and you can customize it as you go, I'm guessing.
I see what you're saying. Right. It's all about the automation of the process,
Yes.
right? And so we have to make things automatic because and for any business, right? We can't just rely on our
Your
person,
star guy, your brother.
right? The star
Yeah.
guy, because not everybody is the star guy, but some people are a great quality, loyal employee, and we want those people. So we need the system to be able to automate the process so that we don't, so they don't have to. And so they follow the script, they greet the customer, they go into the home, they open up the price book, and with options, 80% of customers always choose higher than the bottom every time. And so if you don't offer options, you're really shooting yourself in the foot and you're losing 80% more money on every service call or house, opportunity that you have just by showing them. And that wasn't sales pressure. That wasn't me saying, "Hey Phil, buy this instead." All I did was open the page and say, "What should we do? What do you want?" That's easy. Anybody can do that, right? And so as buyers today, when we go into the store, when we look on Amazon, we're looking for options. We're looking for the best value that we can afford based on our budget. We don't want people to project on us what they do or do not think we can afford today. And so that takes all of that out of it and it automates that sales system.
Yeah. I could see how giving people, obviously people don't want to just pick the worst thing. They want to have
Mm,
options and say, hey, I
yeah.
want this or that. Have you seen, okay, 3 options is perfect, good, better, best. 5 options is better. What is that? Have you seen a conversion work better or worse for people?
hmm 3 options is great. If you're not offering anything but one now, then 3 options is great. It's really light. It's kind of like light of options, like you've got your light and you got your max. And so that way you're actually to provide options. And again, 80% people are going to buy more. So give them 2 more options and then they're going to buy more. But 5 is the sweet spot, Phil. And 5 fits on a page and there's a middle. And so
Mm,
when we compare 3 options versus 5 options, it just provides more avenue for the homeowner to go. Otherwise, it's like, hey, you only offered me, the top option right there was $800, but I'd budgeted in my head 1200 and you didn't show me any $1,200 opportunities. So really, we were just shooting ourselves in the foot. We want to be able to
yeah.
offer those opportunities so that they can choose what they want. And it's easy to forget about the inconvenience because as professionals, we know how to do it and we aren't really inconvenienced when we're fixing it because this is what we do. But the homeowner is so inconvenienced that they're and they're scared. There's a lot of fear. How much is it going to cost? What if we can't fix it? What if we have to do so much more? It's not easy to have home repair issues going on, and so we want to take that fear off of them by giving them options and letting them know we're the professional, but remembering the position that the homeowner or renter or whatever that
Yeah.
the customer is in. Um, it's not just this or just that. Like it's a big deal for them. And so let's provide them options. And that's, again, I said shooting ourselves in the foot. I need a better word to say than that. But the
You're missing
reality
out
is,
on the opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's so much more. We can maximize the value of being right there with them. And depending on their inconvenience level, let's provide them options so that they can choose not to
Yeah.
have this happen again.
Yeah, I agree. I used to work when I first started my career at Enterprise Rent a Car, and we used to
Hmm.
offer good, better, best.
Yeah.
And they always used to tell us, you don't know what You don't know how much this person has. You don't know that they've been in 10 accidents and they need a full coverage insurance. You have
Mm-hmm.
no idea.
Nope.
Just by even providing them, they had a joke that the kiosk at the airport could outsell the best salesperson because they just offered everything. And so literally by just offering all the services,
Yeah.
you're going to outsell someone who thinks that
Yeah.
they have the best sales pitch and all this stuff.
Right. And it wasn't pressure. It wasn't hard. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to say this to them. What if they say no? It wasn't even rejection. It's like, let them choose. It was, gosh, it was years ago. There was this ice storm. We're based in Georgia, so
Yeah.
weather here is like whatever. But we actually did get snow. We probably had about 3 inches of snow at the time, and we worked out of Georgia, but I was living in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and so it's a 45-minute drive, but it took me 3 hours to get home. And I get home, and my husband's like, "Hey, welcome to the cabin. It's like great weather." And I hope I didn't cuss, but I probably did. And I was so frustrated because I had gosh, it was a little Forerunner, which are terrible in ice and snow. And so I'd made it home, but I slid all over the road the whole way. And I was like, never again will I not own a four-wheel drive. And it's once a year, maybe we have a day of bad weather here, maybe. And so everybody in my office is always like, I'd never pay more money for a four-wheel drive vehicle. We don't need that here. That's such a waste of money. And I was like, I will never not own a four-wheel drive vehicle again. I don't care. I want it for the one day a year that I need it, so I feel safe, so that my kids feel safe, right? And so that's where it is with menus, with options, with what you're doing, providing value in the home. Is you don't know that trigger point for that customer, so let's provide those options for them so they can choose what they want, and you get the benefit of that, the benefit of maxing the opportunity, and it's increasing your cash flow. It's moving more parts out of your truck, off of the shelves, so that you don't have all that inventory in the warehouse. It's benefiting you.
Yeah.
And often we forget about that.
Absolutely. I think the golden nugget that I got from the menu pricing part is 3 is good. 5 is great because that middle one, I never thought of that. And I think that's a great opportunity for most of these businesses. What about when it comes to pricing in those models? Like Alex Hormozy, if you're familiar with his stuff, he talks about
Love him.
he talks about putting the threshold at the bottom, then a little bit, and then you have a really nice
Mm-hmm.
big jump at the top. Have you played around with pricing, or have you
Mm-hmm.
seen this pricing structure works?
Yeah, we absolutely have. I love Alex Hermosi. I'm really into him right now, and so
Oh,
I've
good.
been listening to all his podcasts. And I love that you bring him up because he says, and not to derail from what you just asked me, but he says, hey, you can go and look at all these shiny objects and try to do all this stuff, but if you would just fix the things that are on your should do list in your business, in 2 years you're going to have a really great business.
Yeah.
Because as business owners, we're all like, oh, I should do this, I should do this. And he's like, yeah, if you do that, you're going to have a great business. So I love that.
I think another thing on that is we all know shiny objects in them, but I think a lot of businesses have shiny service syndrome where it's
Yeah.
like over here, oh, I could do this service. Oh, I could make money
Yes.
doing this. Oh,
Yes.
I could do this. And then you're basically building a whole nother SOP, a whole nother process. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
just focused on doing what you do great and focus on
Isn't
what
that
you
the
should
truth?
do.
And which reminds me of built to sell, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You have to be good at your core product, so then you can
Yeah.
maximize your core product first. So your question was, have we noticed the difference in the spread between the levels when we're offering options, and then is it okay to have a big jump up top?
Or what's the best
So
practice? Yeah. What's the best thing you
yes,
think?
absolutely. The best practice is to start with a 99-cent hamburger. And I'm serious. Like your bottom option, your flat rate, hey, we could fix it today for as low as this. You have to have that to get in the door, right? People go to, and Burger King was the first one to have the 99-cent hamburger. Some people think it was McDonald's. But you have to have that because that gets you in the door. Oh, I can get in there and I can get that. But the majority of their sales are not 99-cent hamburgers, right? It's going to be your Big Mac or something bigger, like your double cheeseburger or something. They're making more money in there. But all they did was add a little bit more. They added a patty, they added a slice of cheese. It
Mm.
wasn't about adding fries and Coke. We're talking about still the same system, the hamburger. They just added a little bit to the hamburger, right? And
Yep.
all of a sudden you went from 99 cents to $3 to $10. I don't know what lunch costs these days. It's expensive everywhere. I'm like, $12 for a salad. So you have to have that to get people in the door so they know, okay, I can afford it. And so, Phil, if you're coming out to fix something at my house, that bottom option, okay, good. I can afford something here. We can get my problem taken care of today. Now, let me move to the level that fits my budget for the value that I'm looking for today. So start there. And then when it comes to between your spread, well, it can't be too much because it's unrealistic. Because if they want to be able to jump up, it has to be a small enough jump so they can get there,
Exactly.
right? If you're going thousands between every option, and we're talking, I mean, like people can't always get there. And so a good rule of thumb is to go 1.5. So you got your bottom option, and then 1.5 is your next option. And then 2 off of the bottom times 2, and 2.5, 3, and you just tier it up like that. And I just gave away a formula secret right there that
Yeah.
is so easy, but we have found that simplicity of that spread, it works, and you get your 80% rise off the Band-Aid, off that bottom basic 99-cent hamburger, just by doing that small spread. We would definitely not recommend doing a huge jump from, like your middle level to the top level, because
Yeah.
again, if you were going to do that, you need another option in the middle.
Of course. Yeah, it makes sense. How does financing play into this? Do you show like it's $1,000 or you show it's like, $10 a month or something?
I'm so lucky you asked that.
Okay, good.
Well, because I'm working on an integration right now with Optimus contractor financing. I don't know if you're familiar with Optimus.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
So we're doing an integration right now and we're rolling out on January 30th, which happens to be next week. So
Oh,
I mean, I'm like so excited. We've been working on this since July, heavily since July, over a year, but since July, really working on the APIs and the connections and integrations. And so in our menu, starting on Tuesday, people are going to be able, because we've always had kind of like estimated payment planned in there, but
yeah.
now automatically it's like, here is what your monthly would be. Here is the terms, maybe it's 6 months same as cash, or 12 months at 5.99 or whatever it is. It says that in there so they can see the terms right away. And then, yeah, you know what, I want to do that. Let me go ahead and click and get approved right now. And then Optimus completes the application with the customer, says, hey, you've been approved for this. And can continue forward. So it's a beautiful integration that's really going to help, because we're seeing more and more people wanting to look at financing options, so that they're not always just maxing out, their credit card. They might need to spread some things out. People have their own reasons for how they want to buy and spend money, right? So it's a great time to automatically have your financing built into your pricing system. And we do always want to be able to provide that financing, because people will buy more when you provide the avenue for them to do that. Um, so, so to be real honest, Phil, since we're just launching next week, I'll have data soon after that as far as, are they always buying a certain level and higher? I can't wait to get the data, but I don't
Yeah,
have it yet, right? Like how is it working? We plan on starting with hey, here's the payment plans. And the other day I was so excited about this, because I was testing it and walking through and testing with our teams, and we were on a demo with some distributors showing them this new integration. And so I was walking through a capacitor repair scenario, and I picked the capacitor menu page in the price book, and I hit the PP for payment plan, and that bottom option was a $20 a month payment. I was like, what? We can all of a
yeah.
sudden get something fixed at our home for 20. And I probably made that sound. I'm like screaming. I'm like, $20. Now all
Yes.
of a sudden you can get something fixed for $20 in your home. And that's unheard of. It's awesome. Especially when everybody's like, we're in a repair economy, everybody's budgets are tight. Well, they're not anymore. Like we can
Right.
find $20 to get our air back on. Because right, I mean, it was 9 degrees here last week. You need your heat.
Yes.
110 in the summer. You need your cool, right? So, so excited. So please ask me that question again when I have a little bit more data. 6 months from now, I'm going to be able to say this is the answer. But right now, we have enough data to know that it's the right move and in the right direction to move in.
Oh, definitely. I think with Service Titan, if people use that platform, they use Green Sky and some of these other
Mm-hmm.
platforms, and you can easily switch, back and forth between monthly payments. And I think Tommy Mello, you're probably familiar with him. He
Mm-hmm. Love
talks
him.
about, yeah, he talks about like, just by offering financing,
Mm-hmm.
your sales are going to skyrocket because
Yeah.
if people don't have that option and they're looking at $20,000 for a new system, they're like, I don't know.
Right, right. So we've offered it. We had the payment plans, but now that it's like a full
Integrated.
cycle,
Yeah.
right? It's just making it easier for everybody.
Yeah. So with technology, where do you see like in the future with the trades and technology? Because you have a unique perspective on this because you're kind of in this mix and you kind of see both sides of it. What do you see like with AI, online scheduling, with payments and menu
Hmm.
how do you see things changing in the next couple of years with this kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a love hate, right? And
Yeah.
so, and not just for me, but I think all of us have to choose not to live in fear, not to walk in fear, because yeah, it's going to eliminate a lot of the things that we do as we see it today. It just is. But let's look at the maximizing of the opportunities that it's created. So with pricing, I definitely think, oh, not think, I see that it's all going to be connected, right? So as soon as you're selecting a contractor to work with, you're going to know what it is that you're calling them out there for. If they even need to come out there, you're going to know how much it costs ahead of time. You're going to see your options ahead of time. And of course, we're probably going to have AI doing that, right? Hey, here's your options. Here's the spread. Here's this. Here's that. So it is going to be so automated. People are going to have that information right away, so much faster than they do now. They're not going to have to wait for, oh, somebody came out and 2 weeks later, they either forgot to give me my quote or I have it. Like, it's going to take the human out of that a little bit, and it's going to automate. Like, it is coming, it is here. One of my customers showed me something they used with my data the other day
Oh,
in chat GPT, and they created a solution for a problem that they had, and it was very good.
wow.
And so I mean, I was like, okay, that
What was
is
the
very
problem?
good. I'm glad you asked. The problem was technicians, what they summarize and put on the invoice of, hey, this is what we were called out here, this is what I did. And then the buyer's remorse, if it's not super clear,
Mm,
the buyer's remorse of, what did you guys just do? And I spent how much money? Or maybe there was a spouse or a partner that wasn't there at the time of service and they're looking at the invoice later and they're all mad. And so it solved that problem because it was able to automatically do this beautiful write up of, this is why you called us. This was the recommendation. This is what you chose. This is what we need to do in the future, and it was all approved by the company right then and there. And so it has solved that problem because it's,
mm,
uh, in short, it's communication.
of
It's
course.
communicating better between the business, the technician, and the homeowner on what actually happened and what the future looks like. So
Wow.
AI did that for them like that.
Yeah.
And, we played a piece in it because we had a lot of the data that was in there. And so now I'm like, okay, even us, we now have to adapt to that. And Service Titan is too. I saw that they're rolling out some AI automations of invoice summaries
Yeah.
because people need it. And so that's a quick direction that we're all headed into right away because there's been that, hey, we have this problem and wow, we have a way to have the solution. So I just know, Phil, and you know this too. I can tell by your smile, like 2 or 3 years
Coming.
from now, it is not going to look like it does today. And so let's not be afraid of it. Let's learn what we can so that we can be in front of it and not have to learn way later. And let's be a part of it because it's coming. And we don't want to get kicked out of our industry, and we won't as long as we become a part of the movement, right? We
That's
have to
right.
listen to our customers. It was a keynote speaker, I want to say Alex Brown, um, from Service World Expo in 2020. He's like, give the customer what they want, whether you have it or not. And the way he said it, I never forgot that because when the customer is asking, they will find the solution to what they're asking for.
That's right.
And so we've got to be prepared, even if it's not our, we're a little nervous about it, but it's coming. So let's be a part of it so we can offer it to them.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. One of the things that you brought up was about the sales coaching piece of this whole thing. It's like, yeah, great, you have this menu pricing, but like, okay, here's the pricing, and then you get an objection, and you just, what do I say?
Yeah.
So I believe with your business, you have some coaching that goes along with the menu pricing that you provide to people. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. It's easy to buy a system and then it sits on the shelf, any system, right? Sometimes you just want implementation help. And even if it's as easy as turning the button on, well, as business owners and leaders and professionals, like we're just already inundated and already stressed out, and we've got this burden on top of us, right? And so we love to take that burden off and do it for you, more white glove service of, hey, let us train your team, let us help you, let's look at your numbers. So we do a lot of ride along coaching. We've got an incredible training center here at our office. So people come every month to the new flat rate and do training and coaching. But then also we do ride alongs where our team goes out in the field and rides in the field with your technicians. And they also meet with the office and work with your CSRs. Make sure that that whole business life cycle, that whole value chain that your business provides to the customers is connected, that the office knows what the tech's doing, knows what the owners are doing. And so our team works with them. And so at the end of the week, you get a beautiful debrief of, what to be working on and what to do. And we even we did a month-long ride-along in November this year. Suzanne Wedevin, one of our success coach, she went out and did a month-long and just really turned a company around. Now, we do a lot of training to help implement House Call Pro and Service Titan as well.
Wow.
And so it's just neat, whatever the business needs. Our guys, our team, I'm so proud of them. Like they are working with contracting businesses all over the US and Canada all the time. And so they see so many things. And so if you need help, please give them a call, give us a call and ask for help, because we've seen a scenario where, hey, I have this software with this software, work with this one. Like, how can I make everything talk better? Or how can I provide a process to my CSRs and my technicians so they better value each other, so they better understand and appreciate each other. We would love to work with them with that because our team sees it all the time.
Yeah. So let's say someone is doing HVAC and they want to bring on a new division or department of plumbing or some other thing. And maybe they bring on a technician that knows the service really well.
Mm-hmm.
Then presumably they could bring on your flat rate pricing menu,
Mm-hmm.
maybe bring in some sales training for that, but kind of get up and running without a lot of the
Yeah.
hiccups and speed bumps that come along.
Right away. So your HVAC, you want to add plumbing, so you just need the plumbing module. I already have the HVAC book. Let me just go ahead and turn on the plumbing module, and then you have that too, and do a little bit of coaching and training if you want, right? But the processes are going to be the same, and so your team hopefully can already, whether you're cross training, we've got a lot of companies that are really good at cross training, and so their techs run both calls, right? So whether you're doing that or you have separate divisions, we can help with that too.
Awesome. Switching gears a little bit, for business owners, they have some ideas when it comes to technology, and they're going to, like I mentioned before, they're going to try to do their own thing. Can you speak to, like, does your dad, is he still running the home service business, or does he do anything on the technology side, or is it like completely different businesses and you run this and he runs this, or how's that working?
Maybe I should look at Facebook and see where is my dad today,
Okay.
because he is in Arizona and
Okay.
he's in a beautiful RV with a trailer full of four-wheelers behind him, and he's riding on sand dunes.
I
And then
love it.
he's going to go up and he's going to go skiing in Flagstaff, and I don't know when he's coming back. So, no. He's not.
Awesome.
He sold his home service business to my older brother Dallas.
Oh,
And
wow.
Dallas is just doing, this was a long time ago. I don't know, maybe 2013, maybe.
Okay.
And Dallas is just doing an incredible job, has really become an expert in the indoor air quality space, crawl space
Oh, nice.
encapsulation, indoor air quality. They do a lot of mold remediation, a lot of
Nice.
just really, really neat stuff, but then also, HVAC service as well. And so he took that on and has just grown that and become very successful. We're super proud of him. And so Rodney was my dad, CEO here and very much a part of the business with the vision and helping us to really communicate the value of the problem we were solving.
Yeah.
As the founder, you need to be able to be reminded and to see that, oh yeah, like we really are solving something that is keeping people up at night. And so over the last couple of years, though, he's just been phasing out. He got into woodworking. He's four-wheeling and he travels, and so he's not involved in the day-to-day anymore. If of course, we talk on the phone, and he comes in every once in a while, and you know,
Yeah. That's great. So we talked about Alex Hormozy, and I saw you pull out John Warlow with the Built to Sell. What are some other good books, podcasts for business owners out there that you think right now are resonating pretty well that you found valuable for you?
yeah. Well, Built to Sell has a podcast. Have you ever heard it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
listened to it.
I love it. I love it right now. But this one I just finished. 10x is easier than 2x.
Yeah.
And have you read it?
I'm actually in the coaching program for Dan Sullivan for strategic coach. So
Fantastic.
I love
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely love this one. I got pages and pages of notes. Was really good. As a team, we have a book club at the company, and I can't
Oh,
tell you,
nice.
Phil, how many employees have been like, "I did not get hired to be in book club," and I'm like, "Yeah, you did."
We're the same. We have a book list, and they're big rocks. Like, okay, what book are you reading? What, like,
Yep.
let's talk about this. And I agree with you. But it's
Yep.
so important, especially if you're talking with other business owners. Business owners, we read, we listen to podcasts. We're all about
Yes.
education. You got to at
Yes.
least like understand what they're hearing because they're going to ask you questions about this stuff.
Yeah, right. So we had book club this week, and our team read Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
I love
And
that.
I actually had never read this one, but it was
No,
just so that we could communicate better as a team. And it was all about being able to read the emotions of the room, and don't always have your head down taking notes all the time because you're missing like what's going on in the room.
yeah,
And where's your emotional intelligence and how you can increase your emotional IQ or EQ, right? Not
EQ.
IQ, but EQ, and how you can raise that up. And so just being aware, and we also talked about you know the team members, and are you the team member that when you come in the morning, people are like, oh, what side did Phil wake up on today? Do we have nice Phil or mean Phil today? Like, who do we have? And so we talked about that, being consistent for your team. You
Yep.
can't show up and them not know what you're going to be like as a teammate for that day. So I felt like it was really important for our team to see that together, that we are one unit. We are working together to provide extreme value for our customers, and we've got to do that in unity. So it was good.
Yeah, I completely agree. Mike McAllister, we were talking about him before. He has this new book called All In, and
Oh, I haven't read it yet.
yeah, it's so good. The quote that I love is like, if you want your employees to be all in on the business, you have to go all in on your employees.
It's
And
good.
I think being a lifelong learner, or at least
Mhm.
promoting reading in your business or
Mhm.
continued education, is so crucial. And I'm so happy
Yeah.
that y'all do that as a book club, because I think working at different businesses, if they go to
Mhm.
work somewhere else, there's no book club. Are they invested in their education? Do they want to
Yeah.
give them this growth mindset? And
Mhm.
so, credit to you guys, because I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Something else I'm looking at with our team. I had a key employee here a long time ago when she started. She's like, "Hey, I just want to know, is there ever going to be a profit share?" And I was like, I don't know, right? And this was a long time ago. We were in the garage still, and I was like, "Profit share, what?" But because of her, we instituted a 5-year profit share plan where if any employee had been here for 5 years, they got in the quarterly profit share. But just this week, and so that's fine, right? A couple,
Yeah.
employees get to be in it, and that's great. But then I was listening yesterday on Built to Shell, this company that they were so impressive, but it was all about, no, every employee gets to be in the profit share. Every employee gets to be a part of the company's success, and they can even choose to buy more shares, and it comes out of their paycheck or this and that. And it's, and they had all these things, and I was like, yeah, why are we being stingy? Like, why? And I think too many times we're stingy and we don't want to do a profit share program for day one because we don't have the KPIs for every position nailed down enough to make sure that we're being efficient with every position. And so that's our fault. That, as owners, that is not the team member's fault. And so I'm a big fan of don't hire out of emotion ever. Make sure that you have, the job description, the scorecard, the 6-month expectation, what that employee is going to do the first week, the onboarding plan, the training plan. What's the, by 30 days, what do they have to know and be able to do in order to ensure that they're going to get to the next 30 days? Like, if you can't think through that and answer those questions ahead of time, you have no business hiring somebody because, oh, I got service calls, I need a technician today. Well, I feel your pain, right?
Yep.
Every business needs somebody today, but have we actually written out what that role is responsible for, the revenue that they're responsible to generate? Somebody called me late last night and they're like, hey, this company, their technicians are bringing in a month what they should be bringing in a week. Well,
Mm,
you have to know, and this is no judgment. This is that there's so many of us that don't know what each person is responsible for. So we have no business hiring until we figure that out for the next person, right? Don't fire your team to go figure it out, but don't hire another one until you figure out position by position if you need. But my point, I know that's a long rant, Phil, but when it comes to profit share, I'm now like, hey, you know what? Yeah, my whole team should be able to benefit. We should be able to provide great value and longevity through that. And if I don't feel comfortable and confident because that person might not be efficient enough, that's a me problem. And I
yeah.
need to fix that for them.
You hit the nail on the head with KPIs, and to summarize this thing with menu pricing and
Oh, let's
KPI.
go back.
I'm just saying, like, tying this all together with your
Yeah.
point. Tommy Mello has this saying that if you don't want to put a cap on your team's performance, don't put a cap on their pay.
Yeah.
And every time someone hears that, they say, well, okay, well, what about my CSR? What about my warehouse manager? What KPIs do I incentivize them that I don't put a
Hmm.
cap on their stuff? And it goes back to what you're saying, which is, if you don't know your KPIs, you don't know your
Hmm.
numbers, what are you tracking these people on? So then how can you actually incentivize them to take
Yeah.
advantage, to participate in the upside?
Right,
Yeah.
you can't. And so, one thing I love about Tommy is in his first book, he's like, hey, if you don't know, that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. Let's start here.
Yep.
And that's the same with everybody, right? It's okay. You don't know everything. So let's just start today to do a little bit better and a little bit better and not be all overwhelmed at all this stuff because everybody. I sat next to Gary Alex a year ago from iMarket Solutions, and he's like, I got, 200 problems with my business today. And I'm like, here's this business tycoon. Everybody has problems in their business.
Yep.
So let's just pick one to work on today.
Yeah. Well, Danielle, it's been such a pleasure. I feel like we're kindred spirits. We we like a
Oh, it's
lot of the
been
same
fun.
stuff. Yeah, lots of fun. So, if someone is curious about the flat rate and what you guys do, what should they do? How should they reach out to you? Where should they go?
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Thanks, guys, for listening and being here today. Thenewflatrate.com, of course. Shoot me an email, Danielle at thenewflatrate.com. Let me know you were listening, and I would love to send you resources. I've got some really cool scorecards for hiring technicians, if that's helpful. And then, trials of the new flat rate. If you'd like to try it out to see if it's the right fit for your company, I'd like to launch a trial program. We've never really done that. But if any of your listeners are interested, I'd love to provide that for them so they can check it out and see if it's for them. But Danielle at thenewflatrate.com or thenewflatrate.com is the
Awesome.
website.
Thanks so much, Danielle. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.